All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our training Thursday. I am Katie Collins with the Launch Squad, and I am happy to share with you today a little bit about why you might be under earning as a coach or course creator, really, and what to do about it. So, what are the things that you need in place to ensure that we can just eliminate the under earning from happening? I'll say I just see too often people kind of I don't want to say complaining, but like reaching out saying in different Facebook groups saying, gosh, um, how do you guys get clients? Or, I'm just getting started. How do I do this? Right. Or I just had a friend the other day say, and he's been in business a while and he wrote, hey everyone, I'm not very good at marketing my business. What do you do? And I ended up writing like I do launching, and that's what works for me. So I'm going to break down these 4 things that you need and kind of show you why I truly believe that launching is the way to go if you're trying to build your client base or earn a certain amount of money before we get to the end of the year. Then a launch should be on your radar. But let's back up a little bit. So I'm going to talk about 4 things that your business needs to be a viable business. And this is true for any business. It doesn't have to be just coaching. So, first, you need to have a product or a service that you can sell, right? And it has to, you also need to have someone to sell it to. So, if you have no audience, then you will not get any customers. So, we need something to sell and we need people to sell it to, right? So, that's number one, product or service. Okay. Number two, that service or product has to be profitable. So, what do I mean by that? Because you may be saying, well, Katie, obviously, if I'm selling my service, like I'm going to get a profit. Maybe, maybe not. So, a lot of times people price their service based on the number of hours because we're kind of ingrained with that employee mindset. I remember when I used to be a teacher, I made like 31 bucks an hour. And when I first became a coach, I charged $75 an hour. And I had a really hard time with that. These days, I value a coaching hour with me at $500, if not more. Why? Is my hour worth more than it was 10 years ago? Probably not, right? But I started to understand how to make a profitable business. And what I mean by that is it's not just the hour that you're spending with your client. It's all the investments that you made for the knowledge, right? It's that we invested in our own training and we need to get paid for that. It's also the value of what you're offering, and it's pricing yourself in a marketplace um, where you're setting yourself up for success and you're setting yourself up to be looked at as an expert. If you're offering prices like Walmart offers prices, I don't know about you, but I kind of go, I don't really want to go to Walmart. Like to me, it just like feels dirty and big, and they don't treat their people well. And in fact, I don't feel like they treat their customers well. I don't want to be compared to Walmart. I don't want to be the cheapest coach on the block. I don't want to attract people that are looking for the cheapest coach on the block. That is not who I am. It's not what I do. And those are not my people. So when I say, is the service or a product profitable? It's including a margin of, oh yeah, I've got to pay taxes. Oh, and business insurance. Oh, and rent. And I've got to buy a computer and I've got to da 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 da. Right? You've got a lot of expenses to pay for, email marketing, calendar systems, right? Add up your business expenses. That stuff needs to be rolled into your coaching packages. Another example is credit card fees. It's like personal pet peeve of mine when someone tries to pass on the credit card fees to the consumer. That's not the way it goes. It's in fact illegal in certain states. Credit card fees are paid by the person making the money, not the person spending the money, right? So roll that into your fee. So just things like that, you want to make sure that it's profitable. All right, so far we've gone over 2 of the 4 things to make sure your business is viable and to stop you from under earning. The first one was making sure that you have a product or service that you can sell and making sure you've got the audience to sell it to. And the second one was that the service or product needs to be profitable. All right, so moving into number 3, when you have that service, that product and the audience, you have to generate engagement, right? So most of the time, engagement is through education. And a lot of times we need to educate people about what we do and why it's important. A lot of times you'll see marketers use the words mistakes or I'm blanking on other words, but you know what I mean. 3 mistakes, 3 keys, 3 problems, 3 solutions, right? Like usually it's in 3 or 5. So all of that is education. You're showing people that what they're doing isn't working. You're pointing it out. You're likely telling them it's not their fault because it's not, but that you have a better way. And then you're going to educate them on your better way, right? So that's the third thing that you've got to be able to do is to engage and educate the people that are following you to encourage the buy down the road, right? So we're basically showing them the gap between where they are right now and what they're doing right now and how your service will help them get the end result that they really want. And then the fourth thing is that you need to have a proven method or model that you'll enroll them into. Excuse me. So, what do I mean by proven? What if you're brand new and you don't have proof and you don't have testimonials? Okay, so first of all, I know a lot of people here are not brand new, but for those of you that are watching that are, it is not that difficult to get testimonials from people. You don't have to give away free coaching for the next year in order to get awesome testimonials. You can reach out to people who know you from coaching programs or who personally know you, maybe even from your last job, that can write a testimonial on your behalf that talks about your character and how you show up and why people would be lucky to learn from you. I'm not indicating that they should lie in any way. If they haven't worked with you, then don't say that, right? But there's a lot, testimonials don't always have to be results focused. They're better if they are, right? But they don't always have to be. So don't get stuck on I don't have testimonials yet, so I can't move forward. You can get there. But we need to have some sort of proven results, right? So proven method. And so it's great to do a beta program. I never recommend working for free. It's just unnecessary, in my opinion. But you can get people to sign up for your beta program for a lesser amount of money so that you get paid, but they're getting it for a lesser amount of money in exchange for feedback for your program and or a 5-star review of the program in the form of a testimonial. All right, so let's talk about what that means in terms of like launching and why that matters. So I'm going to go back to, and sorry, I'm looking at notes here. I'm going to go back to the 4 things you need. You need a product or a service. So in our world, we call that an offer. You need an offer, right? And you need to know how to sell it. Okay, so how do we sell our offer? Well, most people say, "Oh, I need a website and I've got to get my packages and programs on my website and I've got to, write a description," or they think they need a sales page for every single program that they're offering. It's not true. First of all, Jeffrey and I always say, you don't necessarily make money because you now have a website. When people say they're launching their website, often it falls flat because there's really no launch happening. It may be hey, everyone, I have a new website, right? Like I just got my website refreshed. I'm excited about it. Of course, I'll post about it on Facebook, but I don't necessarily think I'm going to make a ton of money because I've announced my website. People don't buy your program necessarily just because they visited your website one time. Most of the time, people buy from you because they have followed you. They've appreciated what you've had to say. You've changed their mind about things. You've changed their belief about things. Now they have a new belief, the domino belief that says, this way, my way, is the fastest, best, superlative way to get to XYZ result. And the way we get people to really engage with us and to give us the chance to really educate them in a manner that's longer than, oh, here's a free gift or here's a blog post or here's a single email, is by doing a 5-day event. Now, some of you may want to do a 2-day event or a 3-day event. And some of you want to do a 30-day event. Totally up to you. It's what's aligned with you. The person that I worked from, and based on my own experience, we both agreed that 5 days seems to be a sweet spot. I don't know if it's just the fact that we're used to working 5 days a week and going to school 5 days a week. A week is a container, it's easy to understand. So, again, I'm not saying it has to be this way, but that has been consistently working for me in my own business as well as in the launch squad. And it was what was consistently working for the coach that I learned this method from. So when I say 5 day event, it might be a 5 day challenge. It might be a 5 day, live launch method. I always joke it may be a 5 day challenge, but never say the word challenge. Don't call it a challenge. Because I think the market is getting sophisticated and they're kind of tired of that word, right? But you may notice that we do a Launch It virtual retreat, right? And the word launch is an acronym that stands for the steps that we're going to teach you in our Launch It virtual retreat, which, by the way, is coming up September 27th. So you'll be able to get registered for that on Monday. So just kind of mark your calendar for that. But when you offer a 5 day event, and what we like to do is offer, a 5 day email resource and additional support in the group by going live every day, talking about the very same topic that's in the email, but just going a little bit deeper and helping people maybe overcome the resistance to doing the work, doing the homework, getting into the workbook, and that kind of thing. Because if folks aren't engaging and using the knowledge that you're sharing, they're not going to get any sort of transformation. And that's ultimately what we want for people, right? So that's why launching is so important, is that not only do you need to have an offer, but you need a way to sell it. And if it's just something on your website, you're not, unless you're paying a lot of money to get a lot of traffic to your website, it's really hard to make a sale that way. Not to mention, if you have a high ticket offer, and high ticket, like that's a can of worms. But if you're selling something for, in my opinion, over $3,000, it's a little tough to sell that without them engaging with you in some way. It may be they've got to book a one-to-one call, a consultation of some sort, or they could be participating in this 5 day event with you where you get to leverage your time by sharing all of this goodness with several people at the same time and ultimately getting sales as a result of that event. Okay, so I said the service and the product needs to be profitable. So a lot of what we do at the Launch Squad, the very beginning of working with us in our partnership program, is working through our Craft Your Irresistible Offer program. And the reason for that is a lot of people like to come and say, "Oh, Katie, I've got my offer. I already know it." And I'm like, "Oh, great. Tell me about it." And it's like, "Well, it's 6 months and it's $15,000 and they're going to get, 12 calls." Well, that's not an offer. That's a program. You're going to sell a program and those are the features of the program. But the offer is more about the story behind it. What are the struggles people have? What are the mistakes they're making? What does your program do instead? And then what are some bonuses and pricing structures that make it special for your week-long event? All of that is your offer, right? So we need to make sure that your offer is profitable. And so we help you, should have done do not disturb. So we help you identify, is your pricing right? Right? Like, does that sound good? Sometimes you might be playing a little small. You might be like, oh, I don't know if people want a year, so I knocked it down to 6 months, and maybe we're gonna agree. No, it should be a year, and it's going to be this much, and kind of eliminating the fear around money and pricing and will people buy it and that kind of thing. Then when we talk about generating engagement and educating your audience, right? That is really the event itself, of course, the 5 day event. It also has a, webinar masterclass where you make the actual offer. But it's also the launch runway. We're educating people about the problems that are coming up and what they should do instead, or kind of pique their interest about certain things so that they're interested in the 5 day event coming up. Right. So there's a lot of education and engagement that's happening before your 5 day event even starts. And then the, proven sort of method or model that enrolls them, it's like twofold. First, you want to have your proven system, like this system works. Let me tell you why. Let me show you why. And second, you need to have a proven system like the launch that does enroll them. Right. And so that is why we end up launching with people 3 different times when they work with us in our partnership program, because we don't want to say, oh, it's one and done and perfect, because we all know it's not perfect. It's like making a recipe for the first time and you eat it and you're like, oh, this would be a lot better if it had more garlic, right? Or, oh, you know what would be good with this is some fresh avocado on top. And the next time you make it, it gets better. So the coach that I had worked with kept calling it layers. She kind of gave me permission to do my first 5-day event without a workbook because I was doing a lot of work to get ready for it, writing my emails and more emails and more emails, right? And I was like creating the pages and the sequences, and I was doing everything on my own. And I know you know how that feels. It's exhausting. And I just didn't have time to do everything. And so she's like, don't worry about the workbook, just do it next time. So the next time we added a layer and we added the workbook, and I maybe like made my emails a little bit better. I might not have gone live the first time, and then I ended up going live to make that better, inside my Facebook group. So there's always layers that you can add to the launch. So we launch people 3 times to make sure that your launch is successful, that it's working. We're going to look at the numbers and take just like a bird's eye view of, was this effective, or where do people drop off? And we have so many different tracking systems to find out exactly where people are dropping off, right? So I wanted to go over those 4 pieces with you because I feel bad when people are under earning. And I think back to my own journey of not making enough money. And in part, I wasn't charging enough. In part, I was saying over and over, I don't know crap about sales and marketing. Because I was saying that over and over, I wasn't doing any marketing. I was kind of doing the, Bridget Brady calls it the pasta prayer. You've heard the throw the spaghetti and see what sticks. She calls it the pasta prayer. Throw this up and go, please, please, please buy. So we're saying quit doing things in such a way that you have no clue if it's going to work. You're going to give it a try and you're going to do your best, but is your best good enough, right? Or does it make sense to hire the support to get people to help you with certain things? Jeffrey and I had a meeting yesterday with somebody, and she was telling us about her business model, and she was describing what she does. And then she has a caveat of, I don't do this and I don't do that. And one of them was Facebook ads. And we laughed and we said, we don't do Facebook ads either. And I just kind of said, way to go, girl, like stay in your lane, right? That's one of the biggest things to get to the level of success you want, is to stay in your lane and do what you do best. And I'm going to suggest that one of the things you do best is be a leader. And a leader can kind of, lack of a better word, dictate to others what to do, right? So how can you be a leader in your launch planning to say, okay, here are all the pieces I need. What are the ones that are really out of my lane? I don't know how to do that or what to do that. So, like, in my opinion, the content of your launch is on you. You need to write that. I also believe that you should be writing your own emails. I may not be popular for that belief, and I know people do write emails for launches. I think that is a second or third layer in your launch, meaning your first launch, write your emails yourself for a few reasons. Number one, it is very hard to expect a copywriter to get your voice, to understand your content, and write really meaningful emails without being able to see what are your old emails like. Give them a taste of who you are and what you're offering, and they can make it better. I'm not even saying they would tweak your words. They'd probably rewrite them all. But to be able to read about what you're doing in your words makes them more successful. So I think one of the biggest mistakes coaches make is they want to hire for everything. They take the stay in your lane very seriously, and they're like, I don't want to do any of it. And for some people, they have money enough to do that and they want to hire for it. But what I found, and we even heard this from Danny Page, she recommends you even write your first sales page. It's just this very, it makes you get very clear, and you get to get people to read it and ask, does it make sense? Because if your ability to describe your program is dwarfed in some way, if you're having a really hard time describing your program, it's not going to sell. And so it's worth the grit, right? Like I've got to like flex that muscle to learn how to describe what I'm doing and what results people will get. And then someone can take it from there and make it better. Right. So when I think about launching, I think about by myself prior to the launch squad. I was like, I'm willing to write the emails. I'm willing to write the copy on my landing pages. I'm willing to write all my content. Like that's on me. Right. But then I did hire people to design the pages for me and develop the pages for me. I didn't want to do that anymore. My pages sucked. They were not pretty. I was trying to use my color palette, and it just wasn't translating very well. I really needed a new color palette, but I was so stuck. Like, this is my color palette, this is my branding, and it just didn't look that good. I ended up getting new photos because I knew that would brighten things up a little bit. My new photos allowed me to broaden my color palette a little bit, right? So I hired for that. So there are things that you can do that elevate your status online, that make you look really legit, right? You can tell when someone made their own page, and when it doesn't look that good, it honestly does not convert that well. Now I'm talking about a cold audience. So if you have a warm audience, this might be different. You might have people that just love you and they're going to buy whatever, whether you write it in, black pen on a white piece of paper and hold it up and say, here's my sales page. You've got people that'll buy it. That's awesome. But if you're in a new niche or you're offering something new and you're bringing in a new audience, you really want to elevate how you show up online, so that there's more trust in you, more faith in what you're doing. It shows that you're a professional. And when you're trying to do everything yourself, it looks that way and it just doesn't show that professionalism. And so you're going to make money, of course, but you're not going to get the launch numbers that you see others having, because you're not taking the actions that others are taking, right? So there's no right or wrong here, guys. It's just a matter of being like, what have I done already? And what can I offset to others? Or, oh, geez, I've never launched before. I'm somebody that, quote unquote, launched my website and nothing happened and it fell flat and I'm wondering what to do next. Then we're here to say, I really want you to consider launching something this fall. Pick a date right now. Give yourself at least, I'm going to say 6 weeks, at least. And that's hustling. And you want to be promoting it for 2 weeks before the start date. Meaning, if you're giving yourself 6 weeks, you've got 4 weeks to kind of get everything together, right? Like the opt-in pages and the thank you pages and all your automations and all your emails and everything like that, so that people can start registering as you're working on your 5 days of content. So there's a lot involved there, but I hear so many people say, oh my God, launching is so scary, or I have no desire to launch ever again. And we here at the Launch Squad want to really stop that belief. Like, what's the belief in you that says, I can't launch, or launching is scary? A lot of times it's scary because it's overwhelming, because you feel like you have to do it all yourself. You feel like you don't have the money to invest in a team. You feel like you're not ready. You don't exactly know what your offer is going to be. And so you just keep waiting. You're waiting to be ready. And here's my question for you. And I ask this on every sales call I have when people say, I don't feel ready. I always say, what does ready look like to you? So I really want you to ask yourself that question and journal about it. What does ready look like to you? I will tell you, every single person answers the same way. Good question. Okay, so like I'm dating right now and I'm looking for my ideal partner. If I didn't know what I was looking for, I would never know if I found him, right? And so what does ready look like? Like, if you don't know what ready looks like, you're never going to feel ready. And all of a sudden 2021 is going to be gone like that. And you're still going to be in this category of somewhat under earning. It's not that you're not earning. It's just that your efforts could be leveraged in such a better way. Like instead of making $5,000 here and there, what if you had like a $15,000 to $20,000 launch that you knew worked and you could run that 4 times? Do I think you can make a $20,000 launch? Absolutely. So then you run that 4 times. Okay, now we're talking 80,000 in sales. How does that sound? Right? Now, that's just a random number. You can make more than that if you want. Right? We've already surpassed that. So it's truly about you and your vision and your leadership and the beliefs you have, and then challenging yourself or allowing someone to challenge you with those beliefs, right? There's a lot of beliefs about money. There's a lot of beliefs about being willing to invest in something. I was like looking at these notes from someone the other day, and I liked what he said. I quote, "If you're relying on growing your company at the rate you make money, your business will fail." So he was saying that that was like a sales training I had taken. And I never like to say stuff like your business will fail. I'm not a big like fear mongerer. But if you are relying on growing your company at the, with the cash that you're currently making, that is a belief that is absolutely holding you back, like 110%. If you don't agree with me, I am open for a healthy and peaceful discussion about it. But I have found over and over when people tell me they're going to wait to hire, they're going to go ahead and make money first, and then they'll come back and hire someone to show them how to make money. Doesn't work that way. Just doesn't, right? You can't be like, oh, I want to be a chiropractor, but I can't afford chiropractor school because I'm not making any money. So I'm going to go ahead and start adjusting people. I'm going to align their skeletal system. And then when I make enough money by doing that, I'm going to come back and go to chiropractor school, right? Illegal. There's a reason why people get training before they insist on getting a job and making money at it. So if you're somebody that's waiting to make money to learn or before you'll invest in learning how to make money, it's just stopping you. It is a belief system that is basically bottlenecking your business. You're insisting on doing things in a way that doesn't make sense. It's like swimming upstream and wondering why you're under earning. And so just changing that one belief that it's not that you don't have money, it's that you've chosen to not be resourceful. And there's resources out there that you could find if you tried. I'm just going to push back and say that. And maybe I'm going to be unpopular for saying that, but I cannot stress that enough, that if you're smart with your money and if you know how to bet on yourself, show up every day, do the work, do the hustle when you have to. I'm not a big fan of consistent hustle, but I'm a big fan of sometimes you got to hustle, right? If you're going to be that person, then bet on yourself. So that's just one example of one belief that you might be holding on to that's preventing you from launching. Oh, I can't afford that, right? Stop you right in your tracks. And then I go back to the question of, are you under earning? And if so, these are the 4 things you need. Let me just repeat them as I wrap this up. You need a product or a service that you can sell, and you need an audience to sell it to. You need that service or product to be profitable. Your pricing really matters. Why would you take all the time to sell something that's still going to keep you under earning, right? So let's get your prices up to make sense with the expenses that you can expect to have in your business. So again, bootstrapping all the time can be very difficult. Then you need to generate engagement with the audience that you're building. And that means educating them. We like to educate people through a launch, right? The 4th one is a proven method or model that enrolls people. And so I said that was twofold. It's the how are you going to sell it? How are you going to like make your offer to sell? So to me, that's a 5-day kind of launch event. And it's also your capacity to offer something that you can say is proven. Like, I want you to learn my root system. This is the system, right? Like we have your we do a Lighten your launch system is really what our system is, which is why our podcast is named that and our group is named that. We also have a Lighten your launch. I don't know if you can see that Lighten your launch blueprint. And I want to invite you to download that today. what it does is just take you through all the things that you need to think about when you're thinking about launching. So if I've even pivoted your thought just a minute, just a little bit today to say, can you and will you, and are you willing to launch something before the end of 2021, then you're going to want this blueprint so that you can see all the things that you're going to need to do and maybe identify who you need to hire and what needs to happen. So once this is over, I'll go ahead and put the link in the chat so that you can download that. But if you want to chat with me about anything I said today, it's okay if I kind of like triggered little buttons in you and you're like, oh, I don't know if I agree with that. Great. Let's have a really great conversation about it, because a lot of times we have these blind spots. We don't realize that these beliefs and this way of thinking that we're holding on to is the very reason why we're not yet as successful as we want to be, right? Now, everyone here, really, I know you've been in business for a while. You know what you're doing. You know you're good at what you're doing. That's who is here. I just want to help you leverage those efforts so that you're making much more money doing the exact same thing, right? And it gets to be your model in your business. If you're like, Katie, I don't want to go live, I'll push a little bit back on that. But, right, okay, there's a way we can work around what you don't want to do. But to resist it completely is going to keep you in the under-earning category. And that is what I just don't want for you. I do not want you to end 2021 not making any more than you did in 2020 or 2019. I know that plateau. I hit that plateau 3 years in a row. I hit that plateau. I know what it feels like. And when I launched is when things changed. I tripled my results when I launched the second time. This is the strategy that is currently working, and this is what we would love to help you do. So stick around here in our group. We love having you here. Put September 27th on your calendar and get registered for the Launch It virtual retreat. We've got, kind of new things coming your way, and we're just really excited. We have a lot of people that gave us incredible feedback last time about how it was such a good use of their time. And that's what we want for you. We are committed to showing up and giving you valuable information so that you can make decisions for yourself and plan your first or next launch and see it through to the end so that you can wrap up 2021 with some cash in your pocket. That's what I'm talking about as a sales coach. Okay. All right, everyone, have a great day. I'm going to put the link in the comment there for the blueprint. Like I said, stay tuned for our registration page coming out next week to get registered for our Launch It virtual retreat and the Heroic House ceremony. You don't want to miss that. And I will see you next week here. All right. Have a good day.